The Arnold Clark Reel sale is now on.
Welcome to the Football Show, the special football shows that we bring you over the course of the year. Delivers players and managers from yesteryear talking about their career. Last night we were giving you an insight into Joe Miller's career at Aberdeen and some great stories with Fergie and some great players that he played alongside at Pittodrie. Well, tonight Joe moves on to his time at Celtic. It was a historical time for Celtic trying to win the title in their centenary year, and Joe's addition played a key part in Billy McNeill celebrating an unforgettable season with a double of League and Scottish Cup. Here's Joe Miller reflecting on his time at Celtic and eventually returning to Aberdeen for a second spell.
What age are you now when you decide to accept Billy McNeill's offer?
19. I was still a teenager at the time, and it was just before my 20th birthday. I signed in November '87. So, realising the time that Celtic were having it was a centenary year. It was an important time for the clubs and the fans. It was a bit of a no-brainer that I would love to have joined them at that time. I knew the importance of that season.
Was there something that Billy said that stuck in your mind?
Here's X, right? Here's X amount of money here. No, he did sell the club to us, and he knew I was from East End of Glasgow and I was a Celtic fan, so, he was pretty keen to he put a picture in front of me of who'd be playing alongside and how I could ignite the season. And it just poured a lot of confidence into the negotiation as well, so he was trying everything to get things done, so I was more than delighted to sign for him. Did
you like him as a manager? What was he like as a manager?
It was like, Alex Ferguson, you're in and around him, there's this aura around him, and I knew obviously of Billy McNeill being the ex-captain of Celtic and managing the side, the success that he had. They've got that presence, that aura, and when they're speaking to you, you just shut up and listen and take it all in. But they made you feel so welcome and comfortable around them, and give little nuggets of the teams and the players that they played against. They were sitting there, could be nothing but impressed by them. So Billy was no different. He was great in talking about the years when he played with the Lisbon Lions and what he wants to do with this team. What he wants to do with the players that he's brought to the club. His ambition, because he's brought in the likes of Machiavelli. So it was a big selling point for him to try and sell the club to me, but it was superb. It was great to negotiate with.
Yeah, and when you walked into that dressing room, he'd obviously brought you in, he'd brought in a few characters, and he'd brought in a few good players, to be honest with you. I mean, when you looked around that dressing room, who in particular gave you that feeling of, oh, we've got a team here?
I remember walking in and I just looked in the dressing room and the boys all applauded and welcoming. And Tommy Burns was over right away hugging us, because I knew Tommy from my St Mary's days in accounting. So Tommy was, arms round us, giving us a big hug, and then I went round the team dressing room and I just glanced over the shoulder, I think it was, of Paul McStay or Peter Grant. And I seen the jerseys all hanging up, and it was this wee tiny jersey. You give a baby, that sort of thing. And that was hanging up, and you're stripping, here wee man, big Royce. And made you feel right at home, all the laughter, and so Big Billy came in and, sat us down and introduced us, welcomed us, and read out the team sheet, and it was a dream debut for myself against Dundee. So, managed to nab a goal as well.
Did the fact that you were possibly pushed further out wide annoy you? Because you've mentioned since you were a boy you were a striker.
Yeah, well, I did mention that to him at the time, and what he told me then was that, he had 4 strikers. He was more or less having 4 strikers at the club, and, I'd like to play 3 up front and a wee bit of interchanging. And what we can do with yourself, Joe, is he says, because you've got pace, it can start you on the life, but move about over to the right, to the left. So I started off on the right, and I was having a bit of a good game against the fullback on my debut, and just kept running at him and coming out for wide, taking the fullback on, and so I thought, well, I'm enjoying this, you know. So for the first 6 or 7 weeks, that's where I was asked to play, and I was supplying Frank and Andy with service, crosses into the box, and they're scoring goal after goal. So I more or less cut my throat my own way that I wasn't going to get back in through the middle, because who's going to give Frank and Andy the service?
Yeah, tell me about the pressures, because the pressures of that season especially must have been incredible.
Yeah, well, I didn't feel as if there was pressure. It was just, there was the enjoyment of it, but, you know, we worked hard every day in training. We trained to win games beyond the 90 minutes. And going on that season, the amount of goals that we scored in the last couple of minutes, even into injury time, where we just clinched a winner, it was unbelievable. I think it was maybe about 14 games we scored in injury time. So we just kept going and going until we got that result. But there was that never say die attitude and the cavalier approach, where as soon as we kicked off, we were going at teams. I had the freedom to go and take people on, and you know, it was great to be a part of that. So there wasn't any pressure. It was just that enjoyment. You were sensing that enjoyment, that the fans were enjoying the way we played, the way we closed down, won the ball back, and kept it, and you know, and kept going at teams and creating chances. So it wasn't a pressure. It was more of an enjoyment. You could sense it from the stands.
Yeah, and over and above that, I'm going to show you a photograph of the team after you've won the double. We'll talk about the cup final as well. But when you look at this picture of the team, Ruffy's in it because he's signed at the end of the season. But there were some characters in that dressing room. I mean, it must have been, with McAvenny there and a few others, it must have been a constant wind-up.
Yeah, it was. I mean, there was different little factions. I mean, all the younger ones like myself, Derek White, Anton Rogan, Chris. You know, we were part of the young brigade at the time, and then you had the experienced players that were full of carry on. Great characters on the side, as you say. Every day was a laugh in training, and you know, we were always winding each other up. You know, as young ones, I think we drove the gaffer up the wall sometimes. And, you know, that's the way it was. I mean, they loved us all for it. But, you know, he was quite happy, you know, if there was a team happy off the park, they'd be happy on it.
You need that in a dressing room, a winning dressing room, Ruffy.
And that dressing room in particular, obviously I was there. Tommy Burns was life and soul of anything that was happening in that dressing room. You know, people think, oh, they don't see that side of Tommy, but he was the instigator, wasn't he? He was always the one that was doing things. But Joe's right, you know, we used to sit there. You had to be ready to go out the dressing room at 10 o'clock, and we would all sit there, and Big Billy would come in, you know, his chest all pumped out, and he loved making an entrance, didn't he? He loved coming in. I've always said, when you've got a manager who gets the respect like that, everybody listens, everybody waits on him coming in, and that was what he had. He had an aura about him. And then obviously if you got on the wrong side of him, you got the finger pointing, which was, you know, I always liked a wee finger point, you know, but it was always all right as long as it wasn't you who was getting it.
Yeah, your special moment in a cup final I'm going to talk about in a couple of minutes, but the double, you've won the league against Graham Souness's Rangers, and suddenly, you know, it's onwards to Hampden against Dundee United. It was almost written in the stars, many a player of yours has described it as. Yeah,
I was also thinking myself, because from my own point of view, I've appeared in the League Cup final for Aberdeen against Rangers. We got beat with penalty kicks, and then I've joined Celtic, who are, you know, we've won the league by 8 to 9 points, I think it was, and we were absolutely cruising, and it was all 2-point system. But we get to the final and it was unbelievable. There's just the confidence in the team. We were going and enjoying each other. The gaffer took us away to Spain to relax for a few days before the cup final, and we came back, trained hard, and we went out and played hard. But it was as if it was written in the stars for us, that we knew we were going to win the double that year. Nothing was going to stop us, even though we had a bit of a fright with Kevin Gallagher scoring the first goal. And but there was enough, you know, character in the side that we would go on and win the game.
Yeah, and of course, great times. Just shows you how strong Roy Aitken was. He had you on his shoulders. I mean, it was just the pictures from that day are incredible, aren't they? I mean, just great images of you and the guys celebrating the dream season.
It was, you know, for Frank especially, you know, Frank had a great season. You know, he was a pin-up boy in the team at the time, and for Frank to get 2 goals in the final, it was superb. You know, there was a lot of sayings and slogans, and you know, all going about at the time, and we were all, you know, we were all party animals when it come to, you know, achieving something and winning something, and you know, Frank getting the 2 goals, it was superb. You know, we partied on for days afterwards.
Yeah, I was just about to say to you, it must have been long and hard. I mean, Billy and everybody at the end of that summed it up as a special moment, a special time in the club's history.
I think Tommy Burns summed it up. You know, it was for the fans, because they were there through thick and thin. You know, you just seen the attendances going up and up and up. You know, and they were clamouring outside grounds, and because it was that season, it was a centenary, 100. All that significance meant more to everybody, and it was all Celtic fans that were playing for the side. You know, they wanted to win that year. We wanted to win the double. And to do it the way we did, and I think Tam summed it up well when he says it's, you know, when he pointed to the fans, it's for them. That's what it's all about. That's what Celtic Football Club's all about.
It's 1989. You've lost the league to a stronger Rangers. Is it fair to say, Joe, that Celtic didn't strengthen from a position of strength?
Yeah, we actually weakened as well, because we lost the likes of Frank. He went back to West Ham. 1 or 2 other players followed. You know, so the experienced players left the club with Roy, Mark McGee, Billy Stark, Tommy. All these guys all started to leave or were on the verge of leaving, and we didn't strengthen. So, you know, it was just hitting that period where, you know, who knows, let's see how it goes. But we kept the Rangers as far as we could go, take them, but you know, we got to the cup final, and it was one that, you know, Rangers were going for the treble. So, but we went at the cup final, you know, on the back of the centenary year, and we were pretty confident we were going to get something from it.
Yeah, maybe not as strong a team, but there was always going to be one moment. How sweet was it for you? Because I don't think it was the Celtic throw-in the first place.
No, it wasn't. No, but it was fortunate for myself, to be honest with you, because if we're going back to the positional side of things, Andy Walker got injured up at Pittodrie towards the end of the season, and there was only about 3 games to go, and there was only myself and Mark McGee as the 2 main strikers, so I got my chance to play through the middle where I could score goals, and every game leading up to the cup final I scored, St Mirren and Hibs, and then going into the cup final, so I had a wee bit of confidence there. And as you say, it's one of those magic moments, and Roy was clever enough to pick the ball up even though he hit it out and take the throw in. So it kind of annoys a lot of Rangers fans that it was their throw, and it was their throw, but we still had to play on. You know, but Gary Stevens had a couple of really slow pass backs prior to that, and you know, the flick on came from Mark McGee, and it got passed back slowly again for Gary Stevens, and I just played in his shoulder and read it this time. I got lucky and whacked it into the net.
Well, it's something you're never forgotten about as far as Celtic fans are concerned. What about, I mean, the dark days, you mentioned them, it was just this continual drop in standards to some very mediocre Celtic sides. Was there a period then where you thought to yourself, it's time I got out, it's time I headed back to a place that I know well?
Yeah, it was, because if we're talking about 1989, you know, Manchester United came back in for me that time, you know, and I think Celtic had turned them down. You know, they came in with the same offer that they'd paid, you know, Aberdeen for, so I think that got refused, and so I was a wee bit downhearted about that. The club weren't showing any ambition in bringing in players or replacing the players that had left. So, you know, as you say, it was slowly going downhill, and then there was the talk of Celtic Park, whether it was going to move to various places in Glasgow. You know, I think it was even talking about going to Springburn or somewhere like that, you know. So, you know, there wasn't that, you know, where we could go in and enjoy training. You know, it was a difficult period, and players were very frustrated. Like say Paul McStay and Peter Grant and Pat Bonham, they were very frustrated. Tommy Burns as well, very frustrated at the time that the club weren't, you know, changing things. But we just got our heads down and got on with it. And, you know, we got into another cup final the following season against Aberdeen, which we lost in penalties. Poor Anton Rogan missed the final penalty, but you know, there was still that success there. Yeah. You know, we get into finals and things like that, but not success that the fans required.
Of course, you go back to Aberdeen and, you know, you get to complete the set. You get your League Cup medal that you were craving for.
Yeah, I missed out on a couple of occasions through injury. You know, in 1986, Aberdeen playing Hibs, and you know, I missed out in that cup final through injury. But when I went to Aberdeen, Roy Aitken, Willie Miller, I signed for Willie Miller, but Roy took over. And it was 95 that we got the opportunity to play against Dundee. We beat Rangers in the semi-final, and we played Dundee in the final, and Doddsy and Duncan Shearers got the goals, but that completed the set.
You played on until you were 38?
Yep. I actually went over to Australia, finished off my career, and thought I'd hung my boots up, but you know, I came back and did my coaching badges, and you know, I had retired from football, finishing up over in Australia, and then you know, I got an opportunity to be a player coach. I wanted me to be a player coach only because there was no players at Clyde at the time. And I put the boots back on and helped the younger lads that we brought in. And I was only a bit part. Well, you know, I never had the legs to you know, last 90 minutes. So, but just passing on that bit of experience to the younger lads that we had.
Yeah, not a bad career, Robbie, when you think of the silverware and the managers that he's worked for. I mean, many a player would never get the opportunities that Joe's had.
No, to be part of two clubs, you have to say at the height of both of their time and be part of that, you know, you're etched in the memory of the supporters of both clubs, and you know, there's not a lot of people could say that, and as I say, it's always memories, and obviously Joe's given us a lot of them here, but I'm sure there's lots more. Yeah,
well, let's cut to the chase then. Robbie already has just basically resigned himself to the fact that he's not in the combined Aberdeen Celtic 11, because I have to say to you, Joe, having spoken to you earlier, this was a tough one to pick 11 players. So here are your choices. Yep. Explain it to me.
Well, you know, I couldn't separate the two managers if I was to actually pick the two managers, whether it be, you know, Alec Ferguson or Billy McNeill. You couldn't separate them because they were two different managers. But you know, from a team point of view, you know, I've went with Jim. I know Packy will be angry with me. He'll probably be texting me tonight. But and I'm sorry, Ruffy, you're not there. But it was only 8 games I played.
Yeah,
but,
and you've put Tommy Burns in. I mean, that could go to a 3 at the back.
Yeah, I would have went with a 3 at the back, probably with Miller, McLeish and McKimmie, who they could handle a 3 at the back. But there was no way you could leave Tommy Burns out of your side. I mean, he had a magical left foot. He was a composed player. He took the sting out of the game. He could put his foot in the ball and bring other people into the game. He was quality all round. But you know, and I would have had Peter Weir and outside him, and then you've got the likes of Paul McStay. You could not leave him out. You know, he'd be the first name on that sheet. And then you've got Jim Bett, who was exceptional, another quality player. And my strikers there with Frank, the two Franks, Frank McDougall, fantastic goal scorer, golden boot. And then there was McAvenny, probably the best character you'd ever meet. But to play alongside him, he was good. I trained with him. He was my training partner as well. You know, we did all the sprints and running together. So. Yeah.
Middle to front, I see great discipline, Joe. The two strikers, I see a lot of club fines and nights out.
Yeah. Depends what clubs you're talking about. Nightclub fines. No, they two were exceptional, great characters. You know, I think you've got to have that, you know, that maverick, you know, attitude. And Frank, the two Franks had that in abundance. Frank McDougall was a great goal scorer. He never used to hit the ball very hard. He just used to toe poke things in training. Yeah. Past the goalkeeper, just place them in the corners. Frank was different. Frank was full of running. He worked hard for his goals. So they were two different players, but exceptional goal scorers.
I suppose picking that team there is difficult enough. Does it mean a lot to you to be held in such high esteem with Aberdeen fans and Celtic fans? Yeah,
it's good. I've had a good rapport with them, and to have success with both clubs, I think that makes a difference. You know, I just came in at the tail end of you know, an Aberdeen side that had just conquered Europe with Alex Ferguson. That was a great side. You know, they took on the best at the time. So for myself, just coming on the back of that as a young fella and trying to make his mark in the game, gaining that experience was there. But to join Celtic in their centenary year and the characters that were in that side, and being a Celtic fan, that was my dream come true for me.
Yeah.
So, as I said to you, and to challenge and reach cup finals, it was brilliant.
And obviously, Ruffy, that team would take some beating that he's picked.
Yeah, it certainly would. And it'd been a great dressing room as well. It'd been a fantastic dressing room to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. Never mind, Ruffy. Maybe another dream team somewhere else. You'll sneak into that one. But Joe's would take some beating. Jim Bett and Paul McStay in there as well. Peter Weir and Tommy Burns. And of course, Miller and McLeish. I'm sure somebody out there is trying to pick a better one. But with those two up front, great goal scorers in Frank McDougall and Frank McAvenny. Fantastic 11. It's been great going down memory lane with Joe Miller.
Great to hear Joe Miller reflect on his career with Celtic and Aberdeen. It wouldn't be a bad combined Dons and Celtic 11 if he put it all together and got them out for just one last game. Some great memories there. Hopefully you enjoyed the 2 nights of Joe Miller from Aberdeen to Celtic and back to Aberdeen again. Look out for more specials on The Football Show. Thanks for watching.
The Arnold Clark Reel sale is now on.
Welcome to PLZ Soccer. Why not join the football family and download the PLZ app? You'll get all the latest Scottish football news and up-to-date news on English and world football. There's also a feature here where you can record yourself talking about your favourite team. If we use the video, you could feature on our football show. For all the latest news in Scottish football, download the PLZ Soccer app in the App Store and in Google Play. Come and join the football family on PLZ Soccer. Great to hear Joe Miller reflect on his career with Celtic and Aberdeen. It wouldn't be a bad combined Dons and Celtic 11 if he put it all together and got them out for just one last game. Some great memories there. Hopefully you enjoyed the 2 nights of Joe Miller from Aberdeen to Celtic and back to Aberdeen again. Look out for more specials on The Football Show. Thanks for watching.